Today we are going to learn how to play pocket pairs on paired dry boards. It is almost impossible to fit the exact GTO strategy in a video, but we will aim to simplify the GTO strategy to make it suitable to a beginner starting to learn and hope that we can deliver the high-level concepts to get you started. Let's consider an example, button versus big blind on the board, 8-8-5 rainbow. Notice that we have a range advantage. We have all the aces, kings, and ace-king, while our opponent doesn't. We also have many pairs and a lot of high cards that will be ahead of many of our opponent's hands. A good strategy here is to c-bet 60% of our range with the third pot sizing. We have to make sure our checking range is protected, thus we will check back a portion of ace-ace, king-king, along with some eights, plus our weak pairs, 4s to 2s. The pairs we will opt to bet would be queens to 5s. These are the ones that could use protection against the opponent's high hands. That's also why we don't overbet, as if we do, we will get rid of the weak hands in our opponent's range and only keep the strong ones that we lose to. Let's consider the case where we've checked the flop and the opponent checks the turn. In most scenarios, if we were ahead, we are still ahead. Therefore, we can delayed c-bet the turn with strong pairs except if it was an ace. An ace would equally hit both our range and our opponent's range. So unless we have an ace we have to switch to a defense mode and prepare to bluff catch the river with some strong hands. If we opt for a delayed c-bet, we have to fire a second barrel on most brick rivers with our full houses, some select strong pairs and some bluffs. Let's go back to the flop, and let's see what would be different if we chose to c-bet the flop. If the board connects a bit, with a flush draw or a straight draw, we then prefer barreling with combos that can improve to the nuts on the river. Otherwise, we find ourselves able to continue barreling on most turn cards except an ace for the same reasons we mentioned earlier. We have to check back some ace-ace to protect our checking range. A special case is an 8, we generally have stronger pairs than the opponent, and our range now has a nut advantage, and for this reason, we have the liberty to overbet that turn. After we bet the flop and the turn, our opponent's range gets narrowed down quite a bit by the river. We have to analyze the board and see how many front and backdoor straights and flushes have completed, in order to get an idea how far behind we are. Our opponent might start leading, and bet such rivers, and that would put us in a bluff-catching mode where we have to select the pairs that unblock most draws that our opponent could have had on the flop and the turn, but also block the nuts. If instead it gets checked to us, we have to select where we draw value from. If the river is an ace, we can check back all our pairs. Otherwise, we can check back most of our middling pairs and value bet our over pairs here, aces through queens in most cases. We also will slow down on straight and flush completing rivers and pick a small sizing for value bets. Remember that, in all these cases, you have to reason about if your bet is for value, protection, or a bluff. Visualize which hands are going to call you and which are going to fold. And always, keep your range balanced. There is more content like this coming up. If you like this format, like, subscribe, and leave a comment to let us know.